Hello friends, welcome to Share Topics. We are going to discuss today the syntax of Java program. Earlier we have already discussed about class, method and objects. We tried to understand the concepts. We went through various examples to understand how those concepts relate to real world. But now we are going to take a step ahead and learn about how to write program. Okay, so in this program, in this lecture, we'll be learning about the class, syntax of the class, and different ways how you can write your program. So all programs in Java is written under a class block. Why I'm saying it as a class, because the syntax involves the word class and it is actually a class. So all the programs here, the main programs, everything is written under a header called as public class and its class name. So that class name is also called as the file name. Uh, so here in this program, whatever you're seeing on screen, public class name is also the file name. Okay, so this is how the syntax of a program is, which will have the keyword public and then class and the class name, and it will come under everything else inside it will be in a curly brace. Now inside the curly brace will be many blocks. Okay, that's why you see that your main program blocks are here. Then the second point about this is the command here are in forms of multiple blocks. So your programs are inside multiple blocks. Each of them are actually methods, and the commands here are in multiple blocks. And the most important block is the main block. So the main method. So it's actually a method. So most important block is the main method, which will always be there in your application code. And the rest of the other blocks are methods or functions that are either used to support the main block or in other programs. So let us talk about our first program. In this case, let us see the screenshot where it says public class my first Java class. Okay, the first line of your program is public class my first Java class, which is the header of your program, and name of the class also is included there, which is my first Java class. And then when you save this file, save this program file, you save it as the same name of the class, like my first Java class, in this case my first Java class, and the file name will have an extension .java. Okay, so inside the program you don't say .java, you just say the class name my first Java class, but when you save it, you save it with the .java extension. So this is the class name and this is the block what we saw the syntax earlier. It will have the curly brace opening and you mark the ending also, and inside this curly brace will be one main method, and then there'll be more other methods. In this program we have only one main method, which is sufficient. So the syntax for main method is always the same. So 99% cases it will be like this: public static void main string args. Okay, and the okay, let's discuss our first Java program. The program name is my first Java class, which is the first line of your program. So you start your program with the word keyword called as public class. These two are the keywords. It's syntax, and then this is your file name as well as the program name as well as the class name. So you can see on top the file name, you can see here is my first Java class, and the file name will have .java of course, but inside the program you just put the class name or the file name, which is my first Java class. That's how you write the program here. Your file name should match the class name what you give, and then this bracket and this bracket mark the program, and inside that bracket are again another two brackets. Here you can see these curly braces form the first block, which is, I mean, the block starts here actually, and then that's the block declaration, and then the blocks main component of the blocks are inside the curly braces. So that's how each block will be. In this program you have only one block, which comprises of the main block. Main block is mandatory, it has to be there in all your classes. So every class will have one main and only one, not many, not more than one. So there will be only one main block. And how do you say a main block? The main block will have this kind of syntax: public static void main string args. This line exactly will be the same in 99% of the cases. Okay, so this is how you declare the main block. and you can see that the syntax is public, static, void, main, string, args. I will explain you what each of those mean, but for now just try to remember that the syntax is comprising of this 4 plus 2 words, which is 4 words are public, static, void, main, and the remaining 2 words are string, args. Okay, and see there is a bracket after string and then the keyword args, and inside the block you write your commands, and in this case your command is system.out.println, and what you're doing with that command is, this command is basically meant to display whatever input you pass to that command. This is the input you have passed to the program. Okay, inside the double quote, whatever the text is, it is called as literal. In Java program, all literals, anything under inside the double quote is a literal. Okay, so however you pass it to the program, that exactly the same way it will be interpreted in the, it will not be interpreted, it will be taken as is, it will not be changed. So if you give the your computer this data, it's gonna accept this data and do whatever it has to do without manipulating this data. But in the case of variables, when you deal with variables, you will see the data gets changed to the value of the variable, but this literal always remains as is. So this literal, what we're doing in this command is, we are sending this command to a function called as println, and that purpose of that function is to display this literal value or whatever you give input onto the screen. Okay, so system.out means in this system, do a output, on the output display whatever you have, print the line. Okay, so this is how this is the main block of your program. Let's now go ahead and run it. So you see this programming can be done, mostly all the developers will like to do it in the tools IDE called as Eclipse, but yeah, as we go on we'll see the Eclipse also, but this is very simple program, so I want us to understand the basics. So the basic thing is, you write this program in the simplest way, which is on a notepad or any notepad plus plus or any utility like that. In Mac you can use Atom. So once you've written this file and save this file in any folder wherever you want to save, so in my case I have stored in my C drive inside a folder called Essence. Inside that I have a Java folder, so that has nothing to do with the installation. This is my just, let's change that name to Java student. Okay, I cannot change it, maybe it is open somewhere. So anyway, for now let's go ahead, and I will change it when I can, but for now let's go ahead. You see that this program is in this file and the file name is same as the class name, my first Java class, whatever you have used here, with the extension .java. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that program. Let's see how you can run it. So what I'm doing right now is, on a Windows, Control Shift and right click, it will give you open PowerShell window here, or you can go to that search bar and type CMD. In your MacBook you can type, go to the terminal window, open terminal and navigate to this path. Okay, where are we are in C lessons Java, that same folder. So what we will do next is, we will list out what files we have, which is dir command. In your Mac you will type ls-ltr, and you will see this program. This is the what you have written. Okay, now what we need to do is, we have to compile first. The first step is compile. That's what we have here, right? So in our video, in our we have written here that we are going to compile. So before compiling, so let's go ahead and I don't know why that text started appearing there. Okay, so let's one more time, dir, and the file is here, and now we will compile. Compile command is javac. Compile command is javac, and the file name, it has to involve everything up to .javac, up to the javac space the file name. It will compile a program, and it comes back with the prompt, And then now if you list your program, list the directory using the dir command or ls-ltr in your MacBook, you can see that you get one additional file. The new file name is same thing, dot class. You see here in the folder on the right side, it's dot class. A new file got created. Now when that is created, that means your computer, the compiler, has converted the program from human readable language to machine readable language. Now we can go ahead and run it. The command to run it is java, always java, and your class file. Actually, you don't have to specify anything, just specify the first part of your program, which is my first java class. Okay, whenever you deploy your code or you send your code to if you want to upload your code in like any applications, so you just use this dot class. You don't send your dot java. Okay, if you want to save your or hide your code, so that way you can protect your code from being misused by others. So this is how you're going to run your program in a simple command prompt, java space file name, which will give you so once I hit enter, I get this output. Look, my first java program, which was my literal string. So this is what I had in my print line. Okay, this is how we complete our first java program. So in this case, we are going to demo using a new tool. We are not going to use the default command prompt or terminal window or the notepad. We are going to use the standard tool called as Eclipse. And then one additional thing we are discussing here is using the import function. The import function looks something like this. You write the keyword import. Import starts with I, a lowercase I, and then the class that you want to import. Okay, and that class name in this case is JOptionPane, the function for which is to help us display some messages on a graphical user interface, a window, pop-up window. Like this PowerPoint presentation is a graphical window application, right? So something like that, a window page. And java x.swing help us to get to the complete class name. Okay, we'll get to the detail, but this is the syntax how you can use an import function. So you can use import some other class name also. Okay, so in this case we are going to use JOptionPane. Earlier our function was just simple print line, so we didn't want any import. Okay, the import line goes before even the name of the class where we declare. Before the public line that you see on top, it goes before that. So the import is going to go before that. So let's go ahead and start our demo. So you can see that I have two installations here, IDE for Enterprise Java Developer and one is IDE for just Java Developer. So I'm going to launch the IDE for Java Developer. So it is simpler to write the Java Developer, but in Enterprise or in organizations, they will use Enterprise version. So because it will help us link through various other modules written within the organization easily. But right now, you're one-person developer. You can use just the simple Java Developer. So let's go to File, go to New, and click on Java Project. Okay, Java Project. If you're in the Enterprise Java Developer, you may see a project word, not just Java Project. You'll find the word called as project. You can use that too, but I recommend following through the Eclipse IDE Java Developer. Do not use the Enterprise one right now or the web one. Just use the Java Developer one. So you go to File, New, Java Project, and then put the project name. In this case will be Java lesson 1. Anything. It doesn't have to do anything with your program. It is just your project folder. It's gonna start setting up one folder for you. And let's go ahead and use our folder where we are keeping our current programs, which is C lessons Java inside that. Okay, and maybe we need to create the folder where we want to keep our Java lesson. And then this installation was the same installation. This you don't need to install already. It will be installed as when you're doing the first demo. You would have installed the Java from Oracle website. So that same Java this is the actual runtime engine, JRE. So the runtime engine is something that is needed when you type the Java command and the program name. So for that you need to download it from the Oracle website, which is JRE. Okay, and then that should already be there. That's when only when Eclipse is going to compile and run our program. And that's it. Leave everything else default and go ahead and click on finish. uh, Module name, for now let's not create any module. Okay, let's go ahead with the defaults, everything. Let's keep it simple, don't create any module. And then now you have a you have Java lesson. Let's close what we already have. Let's close already have. So when you click on this, you will find a lot of things which is there inside. Just ignore it. So this is our folder, Java lesson 1. That is our project name, and then you see two breadcrumbs here. So the source, whatever you see the source, that you do a right click over there and then select new, and then say you want to create a new class, because all our programs are classes here. So click on new class and give the class name as whatever you would like to. So I'm going to keep my program name something like this, my first graphical app, and this will be my program which we're gonna write in Eclipse. So put the program name here in the name field. So that will be our program name, which is the class name, my first graphical app. In the package option, just leave it empty, do not write anything, and everything else leave default. So only thing you made entry is name, and if there is anything in the package, just delete it and keep it empty. So click on finish now. When you click finish, it creates something like this. It starts helping you write the program. So you found it little tedious to come to this stage, like opening this, creating a project, and then creating inside the default package you create a class. So it seemed tedious to follow the steps, but once you follow the step, it becomes easier. So this tool will help you write program, and it will give you hints on how to complete the syntax and everything. So you see how it has built your main syntax. Now we discussed that we will be importing this Java X-Swing J option pin. So let's take that. This will help us to write our program to display the graphical interface. So yes, let's see if it is able to import. So it is able to import it. It says the Java is not yet used. Okay, that is not a problem. So we already have written our program here. We're gonna just copy our program. So I'm just trying to type it here instead of copying and pasting, so that I can show you the benefits of typing here. So my public class, my first graphical app, is your program name, or the main class name, I mean the program name. And now inside this you will write your first block. So I'm gonna start with one enter key, and our first block starts with keyboard public class public static void main, and then you write the word string. You put the array, because it's I'm gonna explain what that means actually, but once we have done more program, then it will become easier for me to explain, but still I'm going to give one line about it. So this public is how this particular class or this method, this is the main method. Okay, this is the class name and this is the method name. Okay, so all the blocks are methods and all the methods are inside a class. So public is like this main program can be accessed from anywhere. It's easily accessible to public like any other program. Static has something to do with objects this particular class has created. So if there are objects that are needed to run this program, then it will be different. But if it doesn't need any existing any objects to be created inside the class, then you use the word static. This will come to it one more time in further lessons. And void is something, the return type of this method. So this block is a method, whatever I highlighted, and that method will return something. And if it doesn't return anything, then that's why we use the word void here. In this case, we are not returning anything, we are doing some display. but not returning anything to the one who calls or who ran this program. Returning will be, for example, when you write a method to add two numbers, so when you write a program to add two numbers, at that time the result will be a number, right? Like 2 plus 2 if you are adding, and the return value is 4. So when the inputs are 2 plus 2, say for example you just want to add integers, and the return value will also be integer. So when you are adding two integers, the return value is integer. In place of void, in that method you will be writing int, which is an integer. Okay, and then main is, in this case it is main. Always the class will have the main program. I mean to say that the main application class will have always the main program. So this is the main keyword. So usually for the main, it is always this syntax: public static void main. It will have the return type as void. But if it was like, for example, you're adding two numbers, it will be public static int, and instead of main you will have the name of the method like add two numbers, and then inside this will be the arguments how you're passing. So in this case the arguments are being passed as string data type. String is actually a class in Java, so that's why it's written with uppercase S, and it can pass many arguments, and it's those arguments data type is string. Okay, data type, or it belongs to the class string. So it can be like two ways. You can either pass direct data types like integer. So in case of add two numbers, if you have the program say add two numbers, instead of void it will be int, and here it will be add two numbers, and here you will keep like int, and you will pass the first number 1, or value 1, the variable, comma int value 2, so, or number 2, something like that. So you can pass comma separated set of arguments, which will be like this pattern. First you name the class or the data type, and then second you pass the argument name. Okay, let's move on to the actual command of this program, which is this. So this one I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, so what we have done here is JOption pane show message details. So JOption pane was a class we got from here. Okay, so JOption pane will work if you don't give this. Say for example, if I comment it, it's like this. So see, you see this red, so it doesn't understand what is JOption pane. To make it understand, you have to import it, so it understands it now. And inside JOption pane there is a method called as show message dialog. Okay, somebody has written, like you are writing this one, somebody has written JOption pane and we are using it, and inside that there's a method called as show message dialog. Okay, and they have written the method in such a way that you can pass arguments, and since you're not returning anything, that's why the first one is null. It is just display in this case. So my first graphical window with message is your input or parameter. Okay, so you've written so much. Now go ahead and click this button is going to run. Actually it will do a two-stage process. It will actually do the compile work as well as run it. Okay, once you've done this program, we'll do a Control S. I saved it by hitting Control C, Control S, and now I'm going to run it. So I ran that and it completed the program, and you see this window, right? This is the window I was talking about. This window is due to this JOption pane show message dialog function. Okay, there are more methods. We can explore it by googling it or going to the documentation page, or you can just go here. Let me click this. Okay, my first graphical window with message, and say for example you want to add another line. So JOption pane dot, if you type the class name and control spacebar, you will start seeing all the methods you are able to call from here. So input dialog box, and there are so many things written inside show message dialog, and it shows how you can call it too. Okay, so that's why the Eclipse is useful. So control spacebar is what you need to do to get hint on what to do. So for example, system dot out, it will automatically start showing. If it doesn't show, hit control space. Okay, that is our Eclipse tutorial and import function tutorial.